Good morning. Might be slightly tilted. Hopefully it's not in a weird way. You can see everything you need to see. So welcome to Yoga Pilates Fusion. We're going to start laying down on our back today. Now, you can add a little extra kind of chest opening, shoulder opening, either by taking a blanket and kind of rolling it or folding it up so that you've got a long thin pillow. You can put that down the length of your spine so that you have kind of an opportunity for your shoulders to drop around it. Or if you've got a couple of yoga blocks, you could put one block under your shoulders and one block under your head. I'm going to do that one today. It's a little bit more firm. If you do the blocks, you want the block to be up high enough that it really just supports the shoulder blades and the bottom of the block doesn't poke you in the spine quite so badly. So either one would work. You can set yourself up. If for any reason you'd rather do this without, you can just lie down on your back. That's fine too. So I just kind of figure out where my shoulder blades are and get position. So if the broad expanse of my shoulder blades is holding me on the block, it's relatively comfortable. If I have the block below or above them too much, then it gets a little uncomfortable. So you just have to kind of feel out where that's going to be best for you. If the arms are a little closer to the body, then as the shoulder kind of drops into place, it'll be a little more subtle in sensation. If the arms go out far away from the body, there might be a little bit more sensation across the chest muscles. So you can feel that out as well. Ideally, your elbows touch the ground. Sometimes as I hang out here, I need to make little subtle changes as things start to open and move around. Now you can have your legs out straight, you could put your feet together like little butterfly wings, or you could rest the feet on the floor so that you're a little more shifted. It might shift you back just a little bit more. Take some nice deep breaths. I have my rib cage sort of lifted, I'm emphasizing the expansion of the rib cage a bit with the breath. Trying to feel this area right at the bottom of my rib cage lifting up. Make a little bit more room in the muscles that live between the ribs. Take about 5 more breaths here. nice big breath. And then with your exhale, you can give yourself a little stretch. We're going to take the blocks out or the blanket out from underneath. Let's see what's over here. And then once you're done, you can come back onto your back for a moment and just notice. So usually when I come off of the blocks, there's this very kind of broad feeling in my upper back that feels really nice. Sometimes it feels really good too to kind of reach the shoulder blades up out of the way and then do a little massage across the upper back by kind of rocking on the floor. You could extend that down to your lower back as well by picking up your legs. Now we're going to drop the legs over to one side and then give this chest muscle a little extra stretch and this outer hip a little extra. So if you don't feel any stretch at all, you might try wrapping one leg around the other so you get a little bit more of a tug along those lines. You might feel that already. You might even really benefit from having a block under there because your legs won't go all the way to the floor. So just finding the right amount of stretch for you. Feel that little bit of sensation along both those pathways. Now you can send the hip a little farther away from the rib cage, see how that works. Take a nice big breath, and then we're going to come on back to the center. Now pausing again here, just give yourself either a little rinse with the legs or a little rinse with the shoulder or a little bit of both. Can you feel a difference? Oh, pardon me. Can you feel a difference on one side versus the other? Like just one side of your body feel a little different than the opposite side? So when things have kind of smoothed out a little bit, then we're ready for the other side. So you can take the legs over, see about getting the shoulder to the floor, making some space along this line. Take a couple more big breaths on this side. And then just return to the center. Oh, notice. Notice how things went. Ooh. All right, so I'm going to scooch as far over to the edge of my mat as I can go. So I've got a little bit of room here. It's possible that part of my body will go off screen, but hopefully by the time we get to that, you'll know what's going on. So we're going to grab hold of one leg. I'm holding on to my right leg, and I'm giving my left leg a little bit of a stretch out so that I've got a little bit of energy going in both directions, kind of hugging in with my arms and stretching out with that leg. And then give this foot that's closest to you a bit of a spin, or I guess the one you're holding on to, whichever leg you're holding on to. And then go the opposite direction with your spin. And then point and flex your foot a bit. Now we're going to press the heel away, and again, you might wind up letting go of your leg or not straightening it all the way. Then bend your knee and hug that leg in. Push the heel away. Bend the knee, hug it in. Push the heel away. Bend the knee, hug it in. And then we're going to push the heel away and let go of the leg. The arms are going to go beside us. We're going to engage every muscle. So the right thigh is reaching up toward the ceiling, right heel reaching up toward the ceiling. You can point your toe if you'd rather. And then you're going to take that left leg and turn it so it has a little bit of an internal rotation, the toes pointing straight up. Put your arms beside you and really press the upper arms and the shoulder blades down to the ground. Hug in the sides of your waist. Now we're going to maintain all of that while we take this leg across the body and bring it out in a circle as big as your hip says is okay to do. The leg is to provide resistance, so everything else is harder to hold stable. We're going to work all these muscle groups to try to hold the torso nice and stable while the leg makes a circle. Okay, so 2 more. Deeply pull in the sides of your waist. Beautiful. Then we're going to take that leg out to the side with the next round. Come straight up the center, out, and straight up the middle. Again, try to hold steady. Try not to let the hip lift on that opposite side. And one more time. And then we're going to bring that leg down. Pause for a moment. We're going to curl the torso up off the mat. So if you can hold yourself up here with no pressure on your neck at all, fine. But if for any reason you feel like you're trying to drag yourself forward from your neck, take your hands, put them behind your head so that you can press your head back into your hands, and then use the abdominals to curl your torso up off the floor. That right leg's going to come towards you. The left leg, if you can, is going to lift up, and then we're just going to give that a little extra squeeze. Switch legs, squeeze. Switch, curl, switch, curl. Reach out through the leg. Give it that little extra. Try to avoid using your neck. You can reach out with your hands or keep your hands beside your head. Good. Keep going. Two more sets. Now with that left leg in, grab hold of it, stretch your right leg out, let that leg reach out as you hold onto your left leg, and then spin your left foot in circles. Go the other direction. And then point and flex your foot. Alright, so we're going to hold steady or let go of the leg as you need, and then press the heel up, bring that leg in, press the heel up, bring the leg in, press the heel up, bring the leg in, press the heel up, bring it in. One more time, press the heel up. So we're going to pause there, let go of the leg. We're going to reach out through this right leg, turn it so the toes stay up, hug in through the sides of the waist, press down into the upper arms and shoulders, then that leg comes across and makes a circle out and around. Try to hold your torso nice and steady. Keep everything from moving by hugging in tight. Two more. When you get to the top, we're going out to the side. Try to keep that hip nice and stable. Come straight up the center. Press into both legs. Press into both upper arms. Hug in the sides of your waist. Last one. Nice. Bring that knee in. You can put that one down and then put the other one down right beside it. And then just pause for a moment, let the legs relax. So again, you can, curling the shoulders up off the mat, you can bring the hands behind the head, let your head press into your hands to keep your neck nice and steady. Or if you can, do this without over pulling on the neck. You're certainly welcome to start with your arms down by your hips. So we're going to bring the legs both up. Give yourself a nice little curled up shape. Now we're going to try to hold this little lift in the pelvis, this little lift in the shoulders nice and steady as you extend the arms and the legs out and bring them back in. Extend them out, bring them back in. Try to hold that steady curl while the resistance happens. Now you can leave the hands out of it if you're finding you're using your neck too much, or keep the arms in. 2 more. Beautiful. Now you can keep this shape or put your head back down and bring your hands beside you. We're going to take the legs straight up. So if you need a moment to shake them out, go ahead and do that first. If you've got any tension in your neck, you can rinse that out first and then come back to here. So we're going to take the legs straight up and then we're going to lower them down for 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold for 4, 3, 2, 1, and come back. Now while we're holding, while we're holding, we're squeezing in the sides of the waist and really drawing the navel back and in. Okay? I don't know who's down there, but one of them is. So squeeze the legs, draw it in. Maybe your shoulders are off the mat, maybe not. Lower 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold 4, 3, 2, 1. Come on back. Lower 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold 4, 3, 2, 1. Come on back. Lower 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold 4, 3, 2, 1. Come on back. We're going to do it twice more. 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold 4, 3, 2, 1. Come back. Last one. Here we go. 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring it back. Bring both feet to the ground. Go ahead and take a moment. Just rinse out your hip joints, your abdominal muscles. Give everything a stretch. Right there. Now, we're going to do the roll up. So you could roll yourself up 1 vertebrae at a time and then roll yourself back down. If you can get all the way to sitting up and keep that a slow, steady progression without having to force yourself forward, great. But if that's a challenge, then you're going to do the move in 2 different halves, okay? So we'll start with just trying to get up off the floor, and you just try to roll without forcing yourself or pushing with an elbow. We're just going to roll up as far as we can go and come back down. Stretch out, roll up as far as we can go and come back down. Try to avoid using the neck. So your head is just along for the ride. We got 2 more. Stretch it out. We're trying to really focus on using these upper abdominals. And then we'll come all the way up, however you get there. Oh, hi. So once you're sitting up, you'll stretch over your legs. You don't have to hold your feet. Sit up tall and then curl in through the belly and lower as far as you can go without losing control. Feet start to lift. That's good. Sit up tall. Fold from your hips. Sit up tall, coil back. And those of you that are rolling up, just continue that in slow motion. Rolling back and forth. We're going to do this 3 more times. Sit up tall, fold, which might be 2 or maybe 1 more roll up for the rest of you guys. Sit up tall, fold forward. Sit up tall, coil back. Sit up tall, 1 more time, fold forward. Sit up tall, coil back. Now, if you're rolling up all the way, come all the way up to sitting. Let yourself fold over your legs and then pause there. So however, wherever your hands are is fine. See if you can keep your back nice and tall while still folding forward from the pelvis. Take 2 more breaths. And we'll come on up. We're going to take ourselves to all 4s. I'm going to get a drink really quick before we do that. Once you're up on all 4s, point your fingertips forward and do a couple rounds of cat. And then if you can do it, point your fingertips out to the side and do a couple more rounds. If that bothers your wrist, you can do it the same way. Or maybe not quite so turned out, somewhere halfway between. And then if it works, we're going to turn 1 hand forward and 1 hand around the back. And go towards the outside with your fingertips rather than try to spin toward the inside. Round up. You might even lean back a little bit if it feels okay to get that biggest stretch. Now we're going to take the hand the opposite direction, kind of press down. That forearm to stretch a little bit on the other side. That hand's going to point forward. We're going to spin the opposite hand around. Do a couple of rounds of cat on that side. And then roll the hand the opposite way. See if you can kind of press back. Me getting my forearm a little straight while trying to press the top of my hand down is enough to stretch out that top part of my wrist. Give that a little rinse. All right, yogis, we're going to take ourselves onto the elbows. And you want your elbows about shoulder distance apart. We're going to send the hips up into like a downward dog. It's a dolphin pose. Then we're going to come forward like we're going into a plank and go backward into this sort of downward dog-ish kind of shape. It's important that we keep the elbows shoulder distance apart. If they want to drift out, you'll come back down and reestablish them. You can lace your fingers together if you like. Just take that little bottom pinky and tuck it up and in so that you've got a little bit more firmness on the bottom of the palm here, or side of the palm on the ground. You can also plant your hands palms down on the floor and see if that works a little better for you. So we're going to tuck the toes and see if we can send the hips up. Now this can be quite a big stretch, so we're going to work with that part first. So we're going to see if we can kind of back ourselves up, get the shoulders into a position that feels nice and stable, and you can hug your armpits in. And then the legs might be a little bit more resistant, just stretching out through the heels, so you can kind of feel this out. And then we're going to walk the feet back pretty far so we can come forward into a plank and then send it back up. Come forward into a plank. Try to maintain a nice firm shoulder. Lift through the navel. Come forward into that plank. Send it back. Come forward into the plank, send it back, and it may not go all the way forward, that's okay, just wherever your anatomy allows. Get that shoulder over the elbow. Shoulder over the elbow. Keep lifting through the shoulders, try not to collapse. Last one. And then as we come back, we'll come back to child's pose. Bring in the knees down, heels a little closer together, maybe your toes a little closer together, and then let yourself stretch out. I like to do a little circle for the shoulders one at a time. And then we'll add a little twist. Give the shoulder a little different stretch. So put one arm underneath. You could wrap the arm behind your back or use it to sort of get into the back of the shoulder a little bit. You can bring your hips further forward if you like that better. Let's do 3 more breaths here. We'll come out of this side, give that a little bit of a rinse. Now we're going to take that arm straight out in front, take the opposite leg out with it, nice long reach and spinal balance. And then with your exhale, bring your knee and your elbow in, round up, and stretch back out. If it's too much with both, just put your hand down and just do the knee. Extend, hug in. Extend one more time, hug in, extend, and then lower everything down. Now we're going to come back to that child's pose position. Take that left arm underneath. Find your way into the pose that's just right for you. Take deep breaths. Big breath here. And then we'll let this arm come out. Get yourself kind of sturdy. Stretch that arm out in front. Stretch the opposite leg out back. Reach between those 2 points. One more breath, just holding. And then exhale and curl in. And stretch out. And curl it in. And stretch out. And curl it in. And stretch out one more time, curl it in. Stretch it out, give it a good reach. Bring it down. So we're gonna bring ourselves into a squat. So to do that, you'll tuck your toes under. You might need a little moment with your toes. And then we're gonna essentially just lift ourselves up onto our feet and squat down. Now, some people are way better at squatting than I am. And some of us may turn this into a chair pose. That's okay too. Just see how low your hips are willing to go. And then we'll turn it into a forward bending position. Again, keep your knees as bent as you need to keep your low back happy. Give your legs a little shake out. And then we're going to come all the way to standing. Give yourself a nice big stretch. Now, we're going to make our way up to the top of our mats. You may or may not be at the top at this point. Try to corral my hair here a little bit. So once you're at the top of your mat and reasonably reasonably adjusted, wardrobe malfunction and or other malfunctions, you can pause in a mountain pose. So we're going to take the feet and turn them forward, relax the shoulders, try to find your weight evenly distributed right to left, front to back on your feet. Let the tailbone get a little heavy and the breastbone get a little light. Try not to lock out your knees. So we're going to shift all the weight into the right leg, and the left leg is going to do a balancing pose. Now you can pick the leg up and hold on to the big toe, or hold on to your foot, or you can do a tree. I'm going to take this leg across my right, and then I'm going to sink into a little chair shape. And you can do any version of the arms that you like. So we're holding a steady balance as best we can. And then you're going to take a nice big breath, pick up your left leg, and step it back. So hopefully we're going to come into a warrior two shape. I need little sprints. Okay. Yeah. So I have a mat that's only sticky when it's not damp. So we're going to take both arms out. We'll come back into reverse warrior and then over into a side angle. Now this in the torso is the mermaid pose, right? So we're stretching this side out and then we're stretching that side out. So we're going back and forth in a way that makes sense to you. Trying to keep yourself from landing really hard on an elbow or on your hand. So we've got the core doing as much work as possible. Oh, one more of those. Okay, so then we're going to come back and straighten out that front leg and stretch that whole line out from fingertips all the way to your toes. And then we're going to come on down into a triangle pose. Now, if you want a prop, you can use one of those. You can do this without a prop. So start with your legs and experiment with how straight the legs need to be, how far apart they should go, whether they should turn a little more in or out. Then lengthen through your side waist on the top and the bottom. See if you can rotate the ribs a little bit more, and then extend out through both your arms, however you want to extend. Draw the shoulder blades towards each other. Taking nice deep breaths. Okay, one more. Now we're going to come around to the front. So we're just going to turn this foot in. And then if it doesn't feel good to have your toes turned in, turn them both out the same amount. This block could come in handy, so you might set it up front if you've got one. If you don't worry about it. Now if you like to fold forward, you can let your whole body fold in and just take a moment there, leaning back through your sit bones. If that is tricky, bend your knees so that you can do this safely for your low back. And then we're going to add a little twist. So you could put your hand right down on the floor. I like to get a little more height to it. So I use the block so that my torso is a little more even or a little higher than my hip. And then we're going to rotate the body to the right, switch, or left, whichever you're doing, and then switch and go the opposite direction, okay? So rotate in one direction, and then the other. Notice the moment where your hip starts to help. It's okay for the hip to help. Just try to feel the spine twist first, and then that little extra nudge come from your hips if you like. See if you can notice that point. So rather than just drop in my hip, I'm asking my spine to turn also. Good. Now when you're even on both sides, we're going to come back and we're going to step back into down dog. So we're walking all the way around where we came from and stepping back. And then notice that pose and see if the right shoulder, the left shoulder, the right hip, left hip feel the same. So we're going to come forward into a plank, and then you can hold your modified plank or the full plank. You're going to draw that navel up and in, hug in through the sides of the waist, lift through the shoulders, hold it steady for 2 more breaths. And then we're going to lower down all the way to the ground, nice and steady. Now, we're going to use the back muscles and the legs for this. So hands under the shoulders, reach through your legs, try to make them longer, push them into the ground. Lift with your back muscles into cobra. Slide your hands back a little bit. Legs active, lift. Notice how my head and neck are staying nice and stable. Use your back muscles, not your neck. Come on back up one more time. Slide your hands back. Lift. Beautiful. Now we're going to take the right leg to go over top. So I'm going to scoot all the way to my right on the very edge of the mat and then roll. All right, so now my right side is up on top and my left arm is on the bottom. We're going to bring the feet together behind us. Lift the heels, keep the knees on the ground. So this is going to be the little clams. So we've got hips on top of hips, shoulder on top of shoulder, hugging through the sides of the waist. Then we're going to open the knees, extend the leg, bring it back, and close it up. Okay, so we're going to try to get this outer hip really excited about life. Nice and smooth and slow. Extend up through that knee and then out through that leg if you want to do that little bit of extra. Otherwise, just hold it and then bring it back. So you can do it either way, with or without the extension. Keep going. 4 more. Last one. Beautiful. Now we're going to put the feet back down on the ground and extend out through both legs. You're going to lift through the sides of your waist. Try to hold steady. If you want a little bigger challenge, lift both legs a little bit off the ground. Otherwise, leave your bottom leg in contact with the floor. You could even move it forward for a little bit more stability. We're going to take this top leg and turn it so the toes point up and lift it just about a foot or so, and then make circles with that leg, trying to hold steady through the waist. Try not to let your hip drop back if you can help it. Doesn't matter how big the circle is, just make it as steady as you can. Beautiful, 1 more, and then we're going to turn the leg the other direction. So we're going to rotate it so the toes and the knee point a little bit down. It'll make this back part of the femur bone, this little bump, lift up. We're going to try to hold that internal rotation and circle the leg as well. See if you can circle it and still maintain that little bit of internal rotation. It'll make different muscles work, maybe over here, maybe over here. Beautiful, keep going. 1 more. Nice, now bring the legs together and just notice the sensations in your hip and where you feel those things. Now we're going to take this top leg forward, and you can leave it out straight, or you can bend at the knee, put the foot on the ground. You're going to take that bottom leg, which is our left leg, lift that up, and we're going to pulse that left leg up for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now hold that up and lift a little bit higher. We're going to take it, just hold it for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now circle that leg. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The other direction. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Lift it up. it back down, we're gonna roll back onto the belly. So we're taking that right leg back over where it came from. Ooh. Hands underneath your shoulders. Press the legs into the ground. Can you feel the difference between the right and left sides? Lift into cobra. Good. Slide your hands back. Lift into cobra. I would swear to you that my right leg is longer now. Slide your hands back. Lift into cobra. Beautiful. So we're going to take ourselves back to down dog. Pause for a moment, feel, and then we're going to take that right leg up, step it forward, bring your left foot up to meet it, come up halfway, exhale, fold, and come all the way to standing. Give yourself a nice big stretch. Oh. And we have a whole other side to do. So we're going to stand in mountain pose up here at the top of the mat. Point the toes forward. Relax through the shoulders. Feel yourself get a little taller. And notice that right and left side change. So again, you're going to do whichever balancing pose you like. I'm going to take my right foot up on top of my left thigh and then come into this little chair version. Whatever you did last time is fine. Just balance. Some days the balance is really pretty easy for me. Some days my balance is really off. So just kind of experimenting with some extras if it's a good balance day. And taking it back a notch if it's not. One more breath. Beautiful. So we're going to lift that leg up and step back into warrior two. And take a moment and just make sure you're steady. And then when you get there, we're going to come on back to reverse warrior. And over into that side angle so we get those big long mermaid stretches through the side waist. Feel yourself lengthening out. Lengthening out. Two more. Feel the places where those lengthenings, I can feel that one all the way to my ankle. All right. So we're going to come back, straighten out the front leg, give that whole front side a big stretch, and then come into your triangle pose on this side. How your body gets in and out of the shape. So we're not doing the pose like a mechanical thing, but each time we come to the pose, kind of growing it again from the inside out. I'm going to turn around to show you, because this will be easier to see from the front. But we're going to come back to a kind of center point, and this time we're going to do a wide squat. So turn the toes about 45 degrees out, bend your knees, make sure they're not past your ankles, and then we're going to lift ourselves up. So in this wide squat, we're going to put a hand on either thigh. We're going to move one shoulder blade forward and one shoulder blade back, and then the opposite. I'm going to hinge forward from my hips a bit, and then I can use my legs for a little bit of leverage, okay, kind of help hold my upper body steady. So right shoulder blade forward, left shoulder blade back, and essentially it's like I'm trying to slide them on right shoulder blade up on top of the left one underneath. And then the same thing. Now you can look over the side or let your head kind of stay out of it. Just trying to get some movement in that upper back. Feels really good. And just switch from one side to the other. One side, then the other. Good, we're gonna do it one more time. One side, and then the other. Then we're gonna come back to down dog. Hopefully that, feels nice. And then we'll come into our plank. Again, you can maintain a full plank or you can maintain a modified plank. The actions are the same. So we're gonna draw the navel up and in, curl the tailbone a bit, just so that we're creeping a little steadiness. Lift through the shoulders. So hug in through the sides of the waist. Lots of action, 2 more breaths. Keep your thighs lifting back. Beautiful, and then lower yourself down. And we'll come to cobra. And slide the hands back. And come to cobra. Use your legs. And slide the hands back. And come to cobra. Then we're going to take this left leg, bring that up on top. So we're swinging that guy around. I'm going to stack my hips on top, shoulders on top, use my right arm for a pillow so my neck stays stable. And then if I want to make this a little more challenging, I bring the legs back a little forward with the legs, gives me a little more stability. Bend your knees, feet are up, knees are down. Get your hips back into neutral, shoulders into neutral. We're going to open the knees, maybe extend, come on back and close it up. So we've got these little clams or butterfly kicks. You can call them whatever you like. Open, extend, coming back, close it up. I'm just going to go back and forth, I don't know, 6 more times. Trying to feel this outer hip and maybe this little inner thigh muscle right here as well, as it kind of helps this internal rotation occur. Ooh. Let's do one more. Beautiful. So then you're going to bring the legs out, and again, you can hover them or let them rest. A little bit forward is more stable. Then we're going to turn this top leg so that the toes point a little more up with the knee. Lift that about a foot or 6 inches, however high. And then we're going to spin it. Try to hold the torso stable. Lift through the sides of your waist, hug in. Two more, last one, and then we're going to turn that whole leg the other way. So we're going to try to get this greater trochanter, this little bone right here on the side of our thigh, to lift and go forward. Knee is going to point a little bit down, toes a little bit down, and then circle the leg. And hopefully we feel it in a little different place in our leg. And it's possible that we don't, but we'll hope for the best. Lift through the sides of your waist. Try to hold yourself nice and stable. 2 more, last one, bring it back together. Okay, so the top leg is going to go off to the side or up front. You can bend that knee. We're going to reach through the bottom leg, try to get your hips nice and stable, shoulders still stable. Lift that leg up and pulse it up for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold it steady right there. We're going to do a little circle. Oh wait, we're just holding. Hold it up. 10, 9, I forgot the order. 7, 6, 5. Lift a little higher from the side waist. 3, 2, 1. Good. Now we're making a circle. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Other direction. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold it up and then let it come down. So we're going to roll onto our back. I'm going to scooch a little bit into the center of my mat. And then once you're laying on your back, you can take a moment and do little windshield wipers with your legs, or just stretch everything out for a second and give it a little jiggle. All right, yogis, we're almost to Shavasana, but before we get there, we're going to take the legs and put the feet on the ground. You're going to take one ankle, put it up on top. That might be as far as this goes. You're also welcome to bring the legs in and hold on to them if you like. So that's up to you. Just going to pause and sort of let the hips relax in this slightly asymmetrical position. Take 2 more breaths. So you're going to take that top leg, if you hold on to him, let him go, take the top leg and put it back down on the floor. So now you've got both legs on the floor again. We're going to do 2 little rolling bridges. So hug your shoulder blades in. We're going to scoop up. And then curl that tailbone in and come down 1 vertebrae at a time. Oh, try to feel them each touch down. I'm not quite there yet, but when you get all the way to the point where your sacrum touches the floor and you've unfurled, you can take a big breath. And then do it one more time. We're going to curl the tailbone in and lift up into bridge. And then try to come down 1 vertebrae at a time. Make it go down just 1 bone at a time. There's a spot really close to the bottom of my ribs that's really hard for me to articulate. So I work a little extra hard right there. Those lumbar bones want to stay as one big arch. When you get to all the way to the bottom, you're going to do your other leg. So you'll pop one leg up on top or bring the legs in towards you like that. And then just pause. Notice any sense of kind of enlivening that you feel in your spine. Is the sensation in your spine pleasant? Did you find some sticky spots? It might be all about your hip right now, that's cool too. Two more breaths. When you let go of your legs, we're going to bring the legs back to the bridge position. We're going to do 2 more of our little rolling bridges or Dvipadapitam. So we're going to roll it up and then come down 1 vertebrae at a time. Really try to feel each of those bones touch down on their own, if you can help it. To the bottom, it'll just curl back to your neutral position. And you can either take a breath in between or go straight back up. And then come down again as close as you can to 1 bone at a time. Get to the bottom, you can take yourself into Shavasana. Now, I know some of you guys probably have things you need to do. So if you leave before the class is all the way over, just please put a little comment in the chat section, just so I know you were there. But if you can do it, do Shavasana. It's good for your nervous system. You could probably use a little extra nervous system love these days. So allow yourself to really just surrender to the ground. You can put a little pillow under your legs to make it more comfy. Muscles relax completely. Just stay with the breath a little bit longer. Yogis, just bring your awareness back to your breath. And take a couple of deep breaths down to your tiptoes. Give yourself a big stretch. Curl into a ball. Give yourself a little hug. And then you can roll to your side. Oh. Now you might want to rock yourself up and hang a little boat pose, because I failed to give you guys a boat pose. Maybe you need one of those in your life. They're good. So thank you so much for joining me for Wednesday morning Yoga Pilates Fusion. Let's take a big breath together. Nice big inhale. And a big deep sigh. Namaste, yogis. Thank you for joining me.